Hi and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I do want to say straight off, since a lot of this video is going to be about Shallon Lester and mental health, that even as a subscriber, even as a fan, I do know that there are things that she has said that are just not okay. Especially the Pete Davidson interview, and of course telling the fans of Selena that if she overdoses. So if you have been following all of this, you do know what I'm talking about. But I will say, if it's your first time seeing me, I highly recommend first watching my first video in order to really understand where I'm coming from. And I just think that this video is going to make a lot more sense if you first watch that one. Now in this part 2, I will be sharing my very opposite opinions about Shallon Lester, which is quite different from most of the YouTubers who have talked about her. I will be also sharing why I am more neutral about certain topics and also what I think Shallon Lester should do moving forward. So point number 1, she is not a psychologist. She shouldn't be talking about these topics. Leave it to the experts. So to this feedback, I both agree and largely disagree. So where I do agree is definitely, well, number 1, she has said problematic things, so don't do that again. But number 2, where I do agree is because I think especially when it comes to her videos where she's just diagnosing someone, classic example, the Ellen DeGeneres video, I just don't think that that is due process. So that is where I agree that, yeah, she should not be doing that. Now where I disagree is for what feels like a lot of people think that she shouldn't even be talking about these subjects because she's not a psychologist and that she's just triggering to those who are actually going through something. First, I do understand the concern, especially with everything, but at the same time, I don't think that anybody should be censored from sharing their own advice, especially when most of it does come from their own life experience. What may be not great advice to one person may be exactly what another person needs to hear. And secondly, nobody is forcing anyone to watch her videos. I do think that those who have watched her for a while are quite accustomed to her tough love approach. I personally love it. And if you all are really concerned, I mean, from the feedback of one of her, I assume, subscribers, she said,
so this was recently on her Demi and Will video. So by Shannon Morgan, she said, as someone who's prone to having issues with anxiety, I can honestly say that viewing your videos has never been a source to worsen or create stress or anxiety for me personally. Regardless of the topic of the video, I can appreciate the overarching message of encouragement on how to better our own lives, and I think it is presented in a way that is relatable and palatable to the audience of young women.
So while I do realize the really good intent behind some people saying that she shouldn't have her content out there because some people might take it the wrong way, I also do think at the end of the day, we can't protect everyone from everything, and eventually we do need to let people be in the real world where sometimes they won't like the things that they hear, and it's their job, it's their responsibility to filter out the things that don't benefit them and take in the things that do. So moving on to another part of the discussion, how she should leave it to the experts. So to this, I want to share a quote by a really fantastic writer that I admire so much. She really dives into a lot of articles about self-help, emotional intelligence, all that jazz, and this is one of the quotes from her articles.
When we hear an idea that we agree with, we rarely request a person's credentials. When we hear an idea that challenges what we know to be true, we do. What we're essentially insisting is that we will only trust anyone who has been highly educated in systems and ideas that have previously existed. We are not recognizing that nobody sat at the foot of the people who developed them initially and requested such a thing, because we couldn't. Nobody questions the great thought leaders of past centuries. Nobody asks what grounds Buddha has to share his wisdom. They intuit that it is helpful and innovative, and so they accept it to be true.
So, of course, I think that anything she decides to share to her audience should definitely be based on research, on facts, and I think that if she does do the research behind the things that she shares, these psychological concepts, any of these things she wants to incorporate in her advice, then more power to her. If anything, I think that just gives a stronger base to what she's been sharing. At this point, there are people who are watching this video who get what I'm trying to say. But I know at the same time, there will still be people that, nope, unless they have doctor or PhD by their name, or at least something of that degree. I will not listen to them. Nobody should be talking about anxiety, depression, all these mental disorders, especially Shallon Lester. And to that, I thought it would be interesting to share in this video the perspective of an expert. So her name is Dr. Nicole LePera.
Loved and known by over 2.2 million people, the holistic psychologist teaches you how to heal yourself, hashtag self-healers. And if you look through a lot of her content, she also consistently pokes at self-accountability, as seen in this post. I highly recommend, if you are big on self-development, to check out her page. So honestly, I don't know if I could have found someone with more credentials, so that's all her experience. There's more. Scroll, scroll, you can search her yourself. And oh wait, there's more. So yeah, that is her LinkedIn, everyone.
I wanted to share a excerpt and a quote by Dr. Nicole LePera in an article made by Brianna Wiest where she interviewed Dr. Nicole, and so here it is.
However, through her training, LePera found fault with the traditional mental health education system, citing the major problem being the disassociation between mind and body. It's focused on a diagnostic model, she explains, which means labeling symptoms as disorders. I was trained that all people can do is basically manage symptoms. I wish I had been taught more about trauma, epigenetics, and the importance of conscious awareness. There are things I teach every day now because they lead to immense healing. The main issue with clinical psychology is there is a lack of empowerment. We are now showing people the power of choice, habit, and environment, that they can change if they do the work.
I think that's something to think about, that even the approach of clinical psychology may not always be the one and only solution towards what we all want, to just be happier in life.
By the way, editing Wilda chiming in, I just want to say that even though I've pointed out these things, I am not trying to say that clinical psychology, all the great work that they have done, has no purpose, no meaning. Of course, I'm not saying that. But my main point of all of this is, if a very credited person acknowledges that there are things that clinical psychology lacks, that just opens room to learn from other people who have different backgrounds or different perspectives when it comes to mental health.
Back to Shallon. So with her and her whole self-responsibility, self-accountability, I do think that she plays a role in conscious awareness, the power of choice, and habit, which are things that Dr. Nicole LePera has even said lack in clinical psychology. Let's talk celebrities. So, Selena Gomez. Now, I'm not going to go over everything that everybody has already talked about, but one thing that I just feel the need to say, as someone who has watched all of her recent Selena Gomez videos, I do think some people are wrong in their opinion of this, which is she hates Selena because she has mental disorders. No. Shallon Lester does not hate her because of her mental disorders, but I believe she hates Selena Gomez and any celebrity really who she deems holds a victim narrative. My point of view in all of this, I think that it's really great that we are moving forward and being more sensitive to the mental health of others. I think that's beautiful and great. But a couple questions that I do want to pose, because we do live in an imperfect world, is, well, number one, where does it go from helping someone to enabling them? Where is the line between genuinely helping somebody who needs you here and there versus somebody who you've constantly been pointing in the right direction, but because they are afraid of many things, fear of rejection, fear of being misunderstood, etc., they are choosing to stay where they are because it is safer and because you will be there to comfort them. And when do we finally splash that cold water on a friend of ours that we love dearly because we know that they can do better, but they're just choosing not to? And I know what some people are thinking, I didn't choose to be depressed. I didn't choose to have my anxiety. And to this, well, I'd love to dive deeper into all of that in another video. I love that topic. But to this, what I can say is, I still think that, and I think this is also what Shallon believes, is we still always have a choice. We still always have a choice that we may not always be able to control what happened to us, but we can always choose how we will live moving forward. And hate me for being such an optimist, but I do believe that we all can break from our shackles, from the things we think are holding us back. Like, I don't care if people hate me for this, but I think we can all break through these things and become the best version of ourselves that the universe, that God, the universe has created us all to be better than what we probably think of ourselves right now. Next and last on the list, BTS. Now, all you armies, put down your knives. I just want to say, I am one of you. I have been one of you for like 2 years now. So y'all don't come for me. I'm not gonna really say anything bad. And at the same time, I, as an ARMY, have my bias, okay? I'm all for Baby V, and Rapmon's voice can impregnate me any day. I will fight you all for this. Kidding. Peace. Chill. So what I want to say is, when I watched this video of her talking about BTS as someone who is a fan, honestly, I was not offended after I watched the first run of it. I really wasn't. I was like, because I thought I got her point. Now, the second time I watched it, I understood the more problematic things about it. Like, for me, I guess she didn't have to call Kookie Chinky Lee. I mean, really? So from my interpretation of what she said of the video, I think what she was mainly trying to say is, why can't Asians embrace looking Asian? And this is coming from someone Asian. So yeah, the dark hair, the dark eyes. And one thing I think I noticed about Shallon Lester is, I think she's a little bit old school. I mean, she is a little bit older. So I don't think she really approves or is her cup of tea seeing people with the colored hair, with the eye contacts that aren't their natural eye color. I just think that's her own preference, and I think there's nothing wrong with having a preference for the more natural look of different cultures, of different nationalities. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And to just give some concrete examples of what I think she's trying to say, a lot of Americans want to tan and want to have darker skin. A lot of Asians, oh my god, so I'm Filipino. Y'all Americans, I mean, I'm American too, I was born here, but still, y'all white people, Asian American, you all don't know what white privilege really means until you go to the Philippines. Like, I'm not even joking. It is another level of literal, y'all don't even know. And also, one YouTuber that I follow, her name is Nancy Twinkle, love her, and apparently for Indians, a lot of them also want to look more Caucasian because that is more beautiful in their eyes. So for me, I think that was what the main point of Shallon is. Like, Asians already look great with their natural hair and natural eye color. She doesn't understand why there's like so much color and Caucasian influence. And I think what it really exposes isn't that she's racist, but I think that it exposes how old school she is. She doesn't like the blue hair. She doesn't like the not normal contacts. And with that, I was not offended with her video. And last little note, just about all celebrities in general. I know a lot of people are mad at Shallon because of all of the negative things she said, the lies, the rumors, all of that jazz. And while I do know that that's not great, but at the same time, a part of me which is more neutral about it is, well, I think celebrities chose this life. I know a lot of us just have a good heart and, you know, we don't want them to see these things because they would get hurt, but I think one thing that we just kind of have to let go of is they chose this life, and in exchange for potential fame and more money than all of us, they have a life where they will be talked about no matter what. Hi, editing Wilda chiming in. So one thing that I realized I forgot to mention in this whole video is what I think Shallon should do moving forward. With everything being said and done, the best thing for Shallon is just to reposition herself when it comes to these topics that interest her, especially when it has to do with psychological topics, disorders, all that jazz. Had she come from a different angle, like she said, just someone being very fascinated with psychopaths, and yeah, if she wanted a video kind of discussing, is Ellen DeGeneres a psychopath? Well, I'm not a psychologist, but here's a list and let's talk about it. If in the end of that video she said, I think she's a psychopath, I'm no psychologist, but that's what I think that would have been perfectly fine. And honestly, I know she gets a lot of hate for that, but at the same time, her calling Ellen a psychopath, not saying it's justified, but it does remind me about how a lot of us, either from our own mouths or probably friends or girlfriends, have said to us, oh my god, my ex was such a narcissist, oh my god, the CEO is such a sociopath, oh my god, I think you get what I'm trying to say. So again, nobody is perfect. We all probably have done something a little similar. Oh, and also, even in her how to cheat video, like, here's the thing, like I've said in my first video, I did not watch it until after all of the controversy because I don't want to know how to cheat. But after watching it, since it did have such good points, it would have been way less controversial had she reframed the video from not teaching people how to cheat, but how to spot a cheater. Like, had that been the title and then she went on to say what she did, that would have been a great video. And so this is where I wrap up my video. So I just want to say a big thank you, especially if you watched my first video and watched this video too. Like, thank you so much, especially if you might have been coming from the other side of the opinion scale and yet you still listen to everything that I had to point out. Thank you so much. Even if you disagree with me or think some things are wrong, I still appreciate you lending me an open ear. And so with that, if you agreed or maybe you learned something new or maybe your views have changed a little bit about something, please do let me know in the comments below. If you think I'm wrong, I'm sure you'll still let me know in the comments below. But anyway, please also give me a like if you like this video, and I will be making more videos throughout this quarantine once per week, so please subscribe if you would like to see more videos from me. Thank you so much, everybody. Take care.